So let's get right into it. So I think one of the biggest things in this Multiverse of Madness movie has been Wanda. And I think a lot of people, especially women who are like watching WandaVision and seeing themselves loving the story of mental health and healing that it's told, and then you get into this movie, little thrown off by the villainous turn. What is it though that made this storyline the next natural step for this character in your eyes? Because there's been a lot of discussion.
Well, I think that I definitely didn't want to ignore everything in WandaVision. I thought that WandaVision, I'm a huge fan of that. And I thought it was a beautiful story about Wanda making mistakes without even realizing she was making mistakes as she was trying to reckon with her own grief. And at the end of that, she learns who she really is in a whole new way. And she's given the Darkhold, and she's told the truth about her destiny is the Scarlet Witch, but that doesn't erase her trauma, her grief, or anything. You know, she does the right thing at the end of WandaVision, but I don't think she's healed at the end of that show. She just releases the townspeople and leaves, and we see her at the end of that show reading from the Darkhold, and the Darkhold is the Book of the Damned. It's an evil book, and I think that it, you know, when it gets its hooks in you, it might prey on your strongest desires and the weakest parts of yourself. And I think that's what pushes Wanda to a place where she's willing to do bad things to get what she wants. But I believe in our movie, she always has a defensible position, which is, as she says, America is not a child. She's a supernatural being. She's a walking multiversal portal. Who knows what that could pull in? That's one defense she has. And as she says to Steven, you know, you break the rules and become a hero. I do it and I become the enemy. And they push her and they push her. And, you know, I think she finally, they push her to her brink. And she does some bad stuff, but and it's sad, and I hate it. And I hate to see heroes that I love do bad things, but I think that it felt like an honest evolution of the character. And yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay. So we kind of learned more about the Darkhold and the Book of Ashanti in MOM, but we also learned something pretty big, which is the lore of dreams in the MCU, that they're windows to other realities and other variants of oneself. And I noticed in another project you work on, which was Loki, there was a reference to something called the Nightmare Department. So was this anything to do with that? And maybe since those two, Loki and Sylvie, those leads are variants of each other, we could maybe see this pop up in season 2 of that show. Could they dream about each other because they're variants of each other? Is that how that works?
Geez, Loki dream walking into Sylvie's body. That's what you're pitching. I got to hang up and make a call. That's a great idea. I actually
come up with that. I saw that on Twitter. So shout out to Twitter.
Shout out to Twitter. That's really interesting. You know, dream walking is such a challenging spell. I think it's like, if anybody could do it, I would have said Wanda and Strange are probably the only people who could do that spell. But then again, Loki, a very powerful magic wielder himself, and Sylvie as well. So who knows? I don't know. That's a pretty interesting idea.
So there were a lot of cool characters in this movie. We had a pretty cool lineup for Illuminati, but I'm sure there were lots of suggestions for who should be in it, and I'm sure there was a big debate. So how did the process of choosing those specific characters go?
It was like, all right, what's our dream lineup? We'll never actually get them. And then we did. that was really what it felt like. It felt like that was how it happened. I can't believe that we got who we got. And And we also wanted it to be rooted in some truth of, if I'm Stephen Strange of Universe 838, assembling an Illuminati, who would I pick? And that's how we arrived at this group.
It's cool. So watching the actors interact in both this and Loki, and I would say this because this was the one you were on set for. I know Eric Martin was on set for Loki as kind of the writer. Were you ever inspired by the chemistry and improvisations to kind of change the script or the development to be inspired by them? And I know changes were made during COVID breaks as well, you've mentioned.
Yes, totally. It was all such a collaboration with the actors. It was the actors, myself, Sam, working every day, adjusting and refining and getting things right. And especially, Loki, we inherited Tom, and what a gift that was. And I was able to really work with him to get the voice of that character right. But other than that, I was originating. We were originating a lot of those characters for the first time. Mobius, Renslayer, B-15. Yes, Miss Minutes.
That was it. I know that's an original character.
I know. I love your shirt. Even He Who Remains. Whereas in Doctor Strange, I was just becoming the steward of so many characters that these amazing actors had played for years. Benedict Cumberbatch, Benny Wong, Chiwetel, Lizzie. They'd had ownership over these characters long before me, and so it was our job to listen to them and to make sure that we weren't straying from who they understood these characters to be as they had rendered them over several years in the MCU.
So I think with this movie, as well as Loki, there are two of, I think, 3 projects right now in the MCU that have queer representation. And so what have you learned? Because you've written on 2 of those. What did you learn, take away from those experiences of writing it, the feedback that's gotten from audiences, and what came out on screen, the original intention for those moments?
It's a responsibility. It's certainly it is, and you have to take it seriously, which we have in both cases. In Loki, what ended up on screen is definitely what was the intention. That line between he and Sylvie, where he acknowledges that he's bisexual, and that it just comes out in conversation as they're connecting about who they are. That felt like an honest, truthful way to acknowledge that. With America and with her moms, that you see, it's the truth of the character. And I guess that's the thing, is you just want to be true to these characters and who they are. Mere acknowledgement does not necessarily equal representation or satisfying representation. So it's all just in how thoughtfully you handle it, and is it just, are you handling it dutifully, and I guess being true to the character within the story you're telling at that point.
So finally, just to wrap it up, how's the Star Wars movie coming along? People want to know about more Star Wars movies.
Yes, it's good. It's fun. I'm having a blast. And I don't know, I'm enjoying doing something that feels weirdly more original, just because there's a bigger canvas in Star Wars, a broader scope of time and space. And I'm having a blast. Not having to necessarily write a sequel to anything is nice.